Hey guys, I'm Auspicious Aussie and welcome to my second preview for All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. It's going to be week 2 preview slash predictions. I just wanted to give a big thank you to everyone that watched the previous video. It was, of course, the debut episode of Dynamite. Got a decent amount of love on that episode as well. And I think I'm going to make this a weekly thing. Tonight's going to be, well, tonight for me, morning for a lot of you when this goes live. I'm going to make this a weekly thing, like I said, and try and do it the night before for me in Australia anyway. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. We've got the first match here. We've got Private Party taking on the Young Bucks in a first round match for the tag team tournament. Now, this is a really interesting match because, in theory, you would think that the Young Bucks would win. They're the more, dominant team. But judging on some of last week's results, I feel like the Young Bucks very well could lose this match. There could be outside interference from Santino and Ortiz, costing the Young Bucks. They're sort of heading towards a feud, and I think if this match does open, there could very well be interference. I feel like, I don't want to say there's going to be a lot of interference in this second episode, but in my mind, I feel like with what happened at the end of the debut episode, it's very likely that it could head that way. I mean, essentially all these matches tie into storylines with other people, maybe except for Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc, albeit that match itself is a very interesting one as well. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Young Bucks here. I want to go with Private Party due to that sort of underdog storyline interference scenario. But there was a little bit of that on last week with, Riho winning the title from neither Rose. So I'm going to stick with the Young Bucks. I sort of convinced myself that they're gonna take the victory here, but they might be beaten down afterwards, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we'll move on to the next match, which I think will be Shawn Spears versus Jon Moxley. Obviously, there's no particular order. Obviously, I don't know how the show is actually going to be run, which matches go where, but we'll go with this match next. A very interesting match because obviously both guys former WWE stars and they've both come to AEW. Obviously Moxley's probably a bit more popular than Spears. And of course they've both got completely different names. Obviously can't use their WWE names. So yeah, I mean Spears is coming off that big match at All Out against Cody. And then of course Moxley involved in a very interesting high-level storyline with Kenny Omega. And of course, I mean, that brainbuster through the glass coffee table last week was... I popped a little bit for it. I thought it was very well done. The brawl leading into that VIP area, not so much, for me. I think it was a bit sloppy. I obviously liked the mop moment as well there. This match, I can see it just breaking down completely. Kenny Omega is going to run out, cost Moxley the match probably, and then I think, of course, they're gonna do something to each other. Let's just say that. So yeah, with this one, I'm gonna go with Spears. Probably, yeah, I don't know. It's probably gonna be a no contest. That would be the best way to put it in my eyes. Obviously, we don't want too much of this going on. We want our matches to mean something. But obviously this feud's it's heating up very, very well going into Full Gear. So yeah, I think Spears will win it, and I think Moxley will lose it due to outside interference by Omega in some sort of form. Alright, moving on to the next match. I think the women's match will probably be next in the middle of the show. It's going to be a tag team match between Priestley, Emi Sakura, and they're going to be taking on Riho, of course, the new Women's World Champion, and of course, Britt Baker. Priestley, Baker had a nice little feud that's, I want to say it was full of momentum, and then it sort of died off a little bit. Obviously, you know, Britt Baker picked up a pretty gnarly concussion at Fight for the Fallen. Was it Fight for the Fallen? Or was it Fyter Fest? I think it was Fight for the Fallen, if my memory serves me correct. But yeah, you know, their sort of storyline they've got going on at the moment with, of course, Priestley costing Baker in the Casino Battle Royale. I think it was well done, and again, it sort of continued the animosity between the two. But I feel like having Britt Baker on commentary last week didn't really make sense for me. I know she came out to try and get the women over in the match, but I feel like it slightly took away from the match itself. And it didn't really make sense because she is in this feud currently with Priestley. So, it's going to be an interesting match. Obviously, I think Priestley won the tag team match, but she wasn't teaming with Sakura last time. And obviously, Riho just winning the title. I think Riho and Baker will win this match. Obviously, you want your champion to win and, you know, look somewhat strong. I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be a really good match. I think the two Japanese women are very, very talented, along with Priestley and Baker as well, of course. All right. We're then going to move on to, I guess, the co-main event of the evening, I would assume, which I think will be Darby Allin taking on Jimmy Havoc. Apparently, the winner of this match will be getting a world heavyweight, or a world championship match against Chris Jericho the week after. I think on the 18th of October. Obviously, that's a very large prize for either of these guys to win. And of course, Darby Allin, I think I just watched Dark. So Allin picked up a victory over Shima, which I think is a massive victory for him as well. And of course, he drew with Cody, so he's got a lot of momentum. I mean, Havoc's got some momentum as well. I wish this match was, you know, no disqualifications, leaning towards that hardcore. I mean, it very well could be that, you know, type of match. I mean, even if it's not, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Darby Allin's incredible. Probably my favorite wrestler at the moment. Changes, you know, very often depending on who's hot and who's not. But yeah, Darby Allin really impressing me, and I think he should be winning this match. He's pretty over with the crowd as well, and of course he hit his first, what is it called, a trust fall, whatever he calls it. Absolutely incredible move off the top rope. But yeah, gonna go with Darby Allin. I mean, these two, they've sort of been involved in a bit of a storyline along with Joey Janela as well. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. And it's just a really weird stipulation, it's essentially a number one contenders match for next week. Obviously, I don't really see Jericho losing the title, but still, I think it'll be a good experience for either of these two guys, and could very well further their sort of popularity growth in the future. All right, the main event, we got Hangman Adam Page, and Dustin Rhodes taking on Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Of course, in case you missed last week, Jericho, some would say, basically established a new stable, you know, with the debut episode, consisting of Guevara, Santino and Ortiz, and then, of course, Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, formerly of the WWE. It's an interesting stable, if it is going to actually be that, be a group within AEW. I think this match, in theory, you would think that Jericho and Guevara are going to win. But I think Page and Rhodes might actually be able to pull off a victory here. And I only say that because Guevara doesn't look as impressive as the other three members in this match. I think realistically, he's probably the only person in the match that can afford to take a pinfall, if that makes sense. I don't think losing in this match would harm Guevara's popularity, especially as a cocky young heel. If anything, I think it would boost his sort of... Well, it could definitely boost his heel heat being in the main event, and of course align with Jericho. I mean, it's a win-win for Guevara no matter what, even if he does take the pinfall. So yeah, I'm going to go with Page and Rhodes. I think they will get the job done, and I think Jericho will be quite pissed off at the fact that I would assume that Hangman Page will probably pick up the pinfall victory here as well. Thus making up somewhat from last week's loss to Pac. Yeah, all in all, I think it's going to be a great second episode for Dynamite. I really loved the debut episode. Obviously, there were some things that could be improved, and there were some things that you could see that are easily eliminatable. It's not even a word, but anyway, easily made up for. Small errors that can easily be fixed and improved upon. But they already look like a carbon copy in terms of production and stuff like that when compared to WWE. So I got big expectations again for this week's TV. And I mean, if you look at the matches, they're all pretty impressive. So yeah. Anyways, if you could drop a like on the video, it'd be much appreciated, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, going to be doing this weekly. Going to have a preview prediction video for every episode of Dynamite. And I think I'm also going to do the pay-per-views as well. So we've got Full Gear coming up soon. Make sure you keep an eye out for that. As always, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.